Well, for more on that, I'm joined now from London by Jihane Boudiaf, a country risk analyst at IHS Markit. Thank you very much for joining us today. What do you expect to come out of these talks, and do you think the generals genuinely want to hand back power to a civilian government?
Well, first of all, it's important to underline the fact that the military announced on Thursday evening a change of the format of these consultations, which apparently will slightly prolong the timeline of this negotiation scheduled today and tomorrow by a week to allegedly ensure this inclusion of various stakeholders involved in the negotiations. So I think that this new timeline seems to be more realistic given the number of stakeholders involved in these negotiations. So what we can expect today and tomorrow is that the negotiations will probably revolve around the objectives of the transition, whereas next week they will probably go in more detail about the structure of the transition, for example, the duration, the appointment of civilian and military in the different governmental and institutional bodies. One element that has been mentioned in what your colleague was mentioning just now is that this new national committee stated that they want to include national, regional, and the diaspora. It's an interesting factor in Mali because it can potentially indicate a greater degree of inclusiveness, a certain level of decentralization, which has the potential to lead to greater government stability in the coming years. The drawback of this is that it could underline existing diversity in political, economic, social and security aspirations in the demands of the Malians, which differ from a region to another and among the political stakeholders.
Now, the coup is the most recent kind of dramatic development in Mali, but this is a country with a long list of problems, isn't it? Corruption, that jihadist insurgency. Do you think these talks are a step towards addressing those deeper issues?
Well, these talks, in fact, the fact that they plan to be more inclusive is already an important step forward. It differs from the 2012 coup, for instance. So in addition to the questions that must be answered now on the structure of the transition and determining the roles and objectives, I think that the two key things that the authorities and that the stakeholders involved in the negotiations must focus on is, first of all, ensure economic and financial stability, especially given the COVID-19 pandemic, which is exacerbating the financial situation in the country, like many other countries in the world, of course, but also the current financial sanctions by ECOWAS. These sanctions by the ECOWAS, I think, remain an important factor here because that although they have been put in place to ensure that the ECOWAS community can maintain a level of pressure of the military, they are starting to affect the population, also commercially speaking. And the second point that really is important to address in Mali is to ensure greater security in the country. The stability of the government is likely to be further threatened by jihadist groups who will likely take advantage of this political upheaval to launch attacks against the military, but also potentially foreign troops.
Jihane Boudiaf, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.